Title: On Christmas Eve, my wife gathered the family for a special announcement. She held up divorce papers and said, "I'm finally leaving him." Everyone cheered, except me. I smiled and said, "Perfect timing. Now open your gifts." They did, and screamed when they saw what I had prepared. "This can't be real," my wife sobbed, as her Christmas turned into a nightmare. Chapter 1: The Christmas Surprise. Christmas Eve had always been my favorite time of year. Lights glittered on the tree, snow dusted the windows, and the scent of cinnamon and pine filled the air. But that year, I knew something was off. My wife, Lisa, had been oddly giddy for days, suspiciously cheerful. She'd insisted on hosting the entire extended family at our house, something she usually hated. Her parents flew in. Her brother, who barely tolerated me, brought his new girlfriend. Even my own sister, who hadn't visited in 3 years, was in town. The living room was packed, laughter echoing off the walls as everyone passed around wine and stories. But I stayed quiet, seated at the edge of the fireplace, calmly watching Lisa flutter about. "All right, everyone," she said suddenly, clinking her glass. "Before we open presents, I have a very special announcement." I turned my gaze to her. My hands were steady, my breathing calm, because I already knew what was coming. Lisa strutted to the center of the room and held up a manila folder, dramatically, like it was a trophy. "Merry Christmas," she declared, her eyes gleaming with smugness. "These are divorce papers. I'm finally leaving him." There was a moment of stunned silence. Then, cheers, literal applause. Her mother clapped and dabbed her eyes. Her brother gave her a fist bump. My sister looked like someone had kicked her in the stomach. But I just smiled. "Perfect timing," I said, standing up and buttoning my sweater. "Now, open your gifts." Confused murmurs passed through the room, but the gifts were already arranged beneath the tree, each carefully wrapped and labeled. Lisa hesitated, unsure for the first time. "What gifts?" I pointed to the gold box with her name on it. "Start with yours." She gave a quick laugh, trying to recover her momentum, and knelt to tear open the wrapping. Inside was a leather-bound album. On the front, Lisa's holiday memories. She flipped it open. The first page was a photo of her and her affair partner, candid, laughing, mid-kiss. Her jaw dropped. The room fell deathly quiet. She turned another page, and another, each one more damning. Dates, receipts, hotel check-ins, GPS logs, screenshots of text messages. She went pale, then green. Her mother gasped. Her father choked on his wine. Her brother's girlfriend muttered, "Oh my God." But I wasn't finished, because every other gift in the room held a different piece of the story. Chapter 2: A Gift for Every Guest. Lisa trembled as she shut the album. "Where did you get these?" she hissed, her voice barely audible. I didn't answer. Instead, I gestured toward the other gifts, still waiting beneath the tree. "To Lisa's mom," I said with a polite nod. "From me. Go ahead." Her mother looked wary, but she couldn't resist. She untied the red ribbon and opened the small rectangular box. Inside was a printed email chain. She read the top line aloud without realizing it. Subject: "Should I tell him about you and the pool boy?" The blood drained from her face. She looked up at me, mouth agape. "Oh, there's more," I said gently. "Scroll down." She did. And there it was, an entire thread between Lisa and her mother. Not just about the affair, but about how long they had been planning the exit, mocking me for being too kind and slow to catch on. It even included messages bragging about how they would keep the house and squeeze me for alimony. The room was now dead silent. Even the wine glasses stopped clinking. I turned to Lisa's brother. "Your turn." He opened his box. Out came a thick stack of photocopied credit card statements, all from an account under my name, maxed out on business investments that he had never paid back. "Oh, and by the way," I added, "you're being audited. Merry Christmas." Lisa clutched the armrest of the couch like it was a lifeline. "What is this?" "I told you," I said, calm and collected. "Gifts. Everyone gets what they deserve." My sister finally spoke up. "You knew this whole time?" I smiled. "Of course. I just waited for the perfect time." Then I turned to Lisa and walked over slowly. "You thought this was your grand moment, didn't you? You thought I'd fall apart in front of everyone. That you'd humiliate me, take everything, and waltz into your new life with your boy toy and your false sense of triumph." She blinked, stunned. "Here's the thing," I said, leaning in so only she could hear. "This house? It's mine. I bought it in my name before the marriage. The prenup you forgot you signed? Still valid? The business you thought we co-owned? I removed you legally 8 months ago. Quietly. Legally." She opened her mouth, but no words came out. "Oh, and your boyfriend?" I added. "He's already under investigation for fraud. The money he promised you vanished, along with him." Her mouth fell open. I turned back to the rest of the room. "Merry Christmas, everyone. There are drinks in the kitchen." Then I walked out the front door into the snow, leaving behind stunned silence, shattered egos, and the wreckage of a plan they had spent months building. Undone in one night. Chapter 3. The Fallout. The snow crunched beneath my boots as I stepped outside, the crisp winter air hitting me like a baptism. Behind me, muffled voices erupted, shouting, crying, denial, accusations flying in every direction. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The plan had been executed flawlessly. You see, it wasn't just about revenge. It was about control, precision, letting them believe they'd won, right up until the very moment they realized the floor had been ripped out from beneath them. As I reached my car, I pulled out my phone and scrolled to a folder labeled Failsafe, Christmas Drop. Inside were backups of everything: digital copies, audio recordings, signed affidavits, bank transfer logs, and hidden camera footage of Lisa's conversations with her mother and brother, all of it time-stamped, all of it admissible. I opened the secure cloud app and hit send all. To my divorce attorney, my accountant, the local police department's financial crimes division, and one very curious journalist who'd been waiting for a scoop on Lisa's family's shady dealings for years. Back inside the house, chaos was brewing. My sister texted me. "They're losing it. Lisa's mom just slapped her. Your brother-in-law puked. Lisa's trying to call you. This is wild." I ignored the call. Then another. Then another. I drove to the edge of town where a small cafe sat nestled between a florist and a bookstore. My quiet sanctuary. A friend I'd trusted for years was waiting there for me. Emma. She handed me a cup of hot coffee with a smile. "You okay?" I nodded. "It's done." She smiled knowingly. "They thought they had you." "They always do," I replied, sipping the warmth. Just then, my phone buzzed again. Voicemail. Lisa's voice was frantic, desperate. "Please, can we talk? I didn't know he'd disappear. I didn't mean for this to go so far. You can't ruin my family. Please, we can fix this." I hit delete. This wasn't about fixing anything. It was about finality, about making sure betrayal cost exactly what it was worth. And it had, with interest. Chapter 4. A Family in Ruins. By the time Lisa's family realized what I had truly done, the damage was irreversible. Her mother, who once smirked over wine and whispered about trading up, had her assets frozen by the IRS thanks to the anonymous financial packet I'd forwarded. Years of tax evasion, undeclared offshore transfers, and a few luxury gifts suspiciously connected to bribed board members were now front and center in an open investigation. Her brother, the one who always taunted me about real men making real money, he lost his position on the city's public planning board within 48 hours of that Christmas night. Turns out that little recording of him negotiating backdoor land sales to friends for kickbacks didn't sit well with the ethics committee, or the press. As for Lisa, she was completely blindsided. Our prenup, which she once arrogantly claimed was just a formality, had a clause she overlooked, one that invalidated her claim to anything if infidelity could be proven. The photos, the receipts, the hotel check-ins under her name using our shared credit cards. It was airtight. When she tried to fight it, my lawyer dropped the final bombshell. The house she'd been living in, the car she drove, the business she claimed to have sold, they were never hers. I had quietly removed her name from everything 6 months prior, when I'd first noticed the change in her behavior. The secretive texting, late yoga retreats, and unexplained credit card charges. Her sale of our business? A forged document. She thought the buyer was legit, but I'd already sold it to a holding company under my name. And when she wired the $400K to a private account, it was mine, a decoy, the app she'd used to track my financials. It was a honey trap, one I'd installed to track her moves. By the time she and her lover returned from their honeymoon, thinking they were $400K richer and ready to start fresh, they found a frozen account, a pending fraud charge, and their faces splashed across local business journals labeled "Con Artists of Christmas." And me? I was miles away, sipping champagne in a cabin I'd bought months ago under a private trust, watching it all unfold. Chapter 5. The final blow. The morning after Christmas, I woke up to 37 missed calls. Lisa, her new boyfriend, her mother, her brother, even the family lawyer who once arrogantly dismissed me as the silent type who'll fold. I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I watched the local morning news with a cup of strong black coffee as the anchor read aloud, "A prominent family faces public backlash after revelations of tax fraud, forged asset transfers, and marital betrayal come to light. Authorities are investigating connections between a disgraced planning official, a failed business sale, and a suspected case of digital bank fraud." The photo on the screen? A paparazzi shot of Lisa and her boyfriend returning from the airport, swarmed by reporters, her face hidden behind sunglasses, his behind a hoodie. By the afternoon, their images had gone viral. ChristmasCon was trending on social media, and internet sleuths were already digging up every detail of her affair, the fake sale, and her sudden divorce party. Even her employer, the nonprofit where she'd recently secured a director's role, issued a statement distancing themselves. She was fired before sundown. Then came the bank. She walked in to try and withdraw from the decoy account, laughing at first, until the teller handed her a frozen notice and politely asked her to leave. She demanded to speak to the manager. Security escorted her out. Her boyfriend tried to call his parents for help. They refused, embarrassed that their son had been part of such a scandal. They cut him off immediately. Later that night, a viral video began circulating. Lisa screaming in the driveway of our former home, pounding on the front door as movers loaded the last of her belongings onto the curb. One neighbor whispered on camera, "Didn't she throw him out last year?" Another replied, "Looks like she played herself." Back in my cabin, I received a final email from her titled, "Please." It read, "You win. I'm sorry. I didn't think it would go this far. Please, can we talk?" I stared at the blinking cursor, then typed just one word, "No," and hit send. Epilogue. Peace after the storm. 6 months later, the snow had melted, the chaos had quieted, and the silence that once felt suffocating had become peaceful. I stood on the porch of my mountain cabin, looking out at the pines swaying in the breeze. No court dates, no threats, no drama, just the quiet crunch of leaves beneath the boots of hikers passing by. Lisa had lost everything, her job, her reputation, her new life. Her boyfriend disappeared when the lawsuits began. And her family? Most of them quietly turned their backs on her after realizing they'd helped mock and betray a man who had always played the long game. The investigation into the false business sale ended with a satisfying twist. The forged contracts she and her boyfriend used implicated them in tax fraud and embezzlement. The state pursued charges. Her assets were frozen. She filed for bankruptcy. As for me, I reinvested. Quietly, methodically. With the original business still under my name and a clever digital paper trail, I reclaimed the clients she thought she'd stolen. Most were happy to return once they learned the truth. The business boomed again. I hired a small, loyal team, and I began writing, documenting the whole story under a pen name. The book hit a nerve, resonated with thousands online. A publisher picked it up. Suddenly, I wasn't just a businessman. I was an author, a survivor, a man who didn't yell, didn't fight, just watched, planned, and struck when it hurt most. On my terms. Moral of the story: revenge isn't always about rage. Sometimes it's about patience, precision, and silence so deafening it echoes for years. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you think about this story in the comments below. Like the story. If you think this story is justified, share it with someone who needs this energy, and subscribe to Lauren's story for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal and justice. Because here, every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay strong, and stay tuned.